Well, you admitted to me that you had not seen the Obi Wan trailer, so I thought,
Uh-huh.
well, let's see your thoughts
Uh-oh.
on Obi Wan. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts will be. I don't know. I have, I have trepidations
Hmm.
because of it being a Disney product, like a Disney Plus product. That's my issue. My trepidation is with that. So I'd be lying if I didn't. And I don't think this does a whole lot to. I'm sort of like just kind of plodding along
Hmm.
with my thought on it all.
Well, it's you have to look at it this way. After what happened earlier last year,
Hmm.
first, and then from all the other news that we've heard over time, and
Hmm.
reproduction issues of other reproduction, excuse me, production issues, production issues over other projects, and then we watched Boba Fett and how disappointing that was. I mean, I had to literally. I was so upset that at some point I just decided for myself to see it as a comedy, and that made my experience a little bit better because I was laughing at the Book of Boba Fett.
That's kind of how I got through, and it's kind of why I've been doing the hate watching of Moon Knight and Hollow and Hollow. I want to call it Hollow because it's Halo, but we nicknamed it Hollow. It's because it's good to the point now where I want it to be good, and I will
Right.
say if you watch episode 1 of Moon Knight, you can kind of be tricked a little bit
It's
because
a it's a bait and switch. Yeah.
it's not terrible yet.
Yeah.
And they don't go bait and switch yet. They kind of just don't. The best stuff is happening off screen or whatever, and they kind of allude this. And then episode 2, you get a little dose of that bait and switch. You get a little tease. You get some other weirdness. But here's my thing: you get 3-4 episodes in, and this is my biggest thing: is they never bother to explain you what the rules are. I don't get what the rules are. Like you don't know when he can change powers. You don't know anything. So it's just a mess. And of course, Halo's even worse because in Halo episode 1, he takes the helmet off. He never ever is moved. I refuse to call him Master Chief again. He's just not. He's John. He's just some dude walking around. It could be any generic. Oh, if you haven't watched our Halo videos, it's just a blast. Loki and Ironcaster and I sit around. They all have new nicknames. I told it's, if we had enough time and I didn't work a full-time job, I'd have a special set of credits that you would see all of the names we'd given them. So we would call it, it's Miss Mullet. John, formerly known as Master Chief, and Hot Pocket, and not Dave Chappelle. These are all the characters in this show. Doctor, and Creeper, and these are all their
Right.
nicknames because it's so bad. It doesn't matter what you call them.
Right.
So,
Right.
all right. So let's do a little bit, and we'll kind of stop and go and see what you think. Oh,
Okay.
I will say I have a hard time already because we're going to be on Tatooine a lot, which at least makes sense in this show. But man,
Make
this
sure
universe is obsessed. Let's see what
make
we
sure
got here.
your volume is up. It looks like it's off.
Well, I turned it off, but I can
Okay.
turn it up a little. Let's see what we do with the volume. We'll watch this a little bit at a time.
Okay.
Did it not share audio? There we go. So we dissolve planet.
I don't hear it still. I'm sorry.
No, I probably didn't do it right. It's. They change where the little button is. So
It's in the bottom
it's
left.
on the bottom left. So that because I'm used to going to the one tab, I don't go to that tab.
Yeah,
You
I
got to do
know.
it before you hit the. Yeah, I'm boomering. I admit. Hey, listen, you got to admit your thing before you. And that's the other thing too is once that because it's not a Chrome tab, it's a window tab. When I hit window, the little box is not there, so you have to hit it before you do all that. So
Yeah. I'm learning it too. Okay.
yeah. So our ship flies in, and we get troopers. We actually get troopers. I think it looked pretty good from this angle.
Okay.
And we're on this city again, which I'll tell you what I figured out because I don't know if you know much about all this lore because I don't know much about this lore because the EU is way too big for me. There's no
Yeah.
way I'll be able to catch up. So I try to piecemeal a few things here and there to catch up. So
I'm
there's
not.
our
I'm not.
visitors.
I'm not hearing anything.
Still
But
not
that's so.
loud enough. Okay.
I don't.
I go for it louder.
Do you hear it on your end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I must not be hearing it. I'm still not hearing it. It's okay.
Okay.
I can get the gist of what's going on.
There's reasonable narration. Those are
Okay.
the Inquisitors walking around.
Okay.
Um.
Okay. So the troop, they're there. They're trying to look for Jedi. Hunt down.
Yeah. So there's
the
our Inquisitors. And the Inquisitors, oh man, I keep hitting too far.
So that one with the weird helmet, that's from Rebels, I think.
Yeah, so they're so it's the Grand Inquisitor,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's I got their names, fifth brother and third sister.
Okay.
So the Grand Inquisitor is probably the least accurate of the three of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, he looks weird.
And it seems like this is even different from the first trailer. Like it just doesn't quite seem quite right.
It could be that they tried to fix it, in post production from that last teaser trailer because of all the criticisms.
Yeah, I even found just even like generic Wikipedia had stuff. Like I was shocked that it was just so easy to find something because I didn't quite know for sure. I kind of knew. I know the concept of all of that, but I didn't really know for sure. But I went over here and there's the fifth brother.
Yeah, there he is. Yep.
Did it share? Yeah. So it was pretty easy to read a little bit so I could understand what's going on there. And then they also had a reference to Third Sister, which is the POC character that they've added. Hang on here. I gotta click the right. She's her name is Reva or Reva. I don't know if they say her name, so I'm not sure how they're going to pronounce it on the show.
I would say Reva because but who knows?
Yeah. Third Sister is known as it's REVA. And it does talk about traveling to the world of Dayu. So
that's a name I'm not familiar with.
We're seeing. Right. So I think that's the city that we're seeing in these trailers. That's been in the footage that we've seen a couple of times. Is I think that's what they're showing us. Reality is all of this footage will be in the first 2 episodes, to be perfectly honest. Right.
I agree.
That tends to be the mode that it's pretty rare that any of this is beyond the first 2 episodes. And they're dropping the first 2 episodes at the same time. So
okay.
So this is the same shot we had last time where he's looking at Luke and, they're just they're obsessed with finding Obi WAN. It's pretty much all they're setting up. And then this was actually a scene. I wish you could hear it because this was actually the best part of the trailer. You're still not hearing sound though, right?
No, I'm not. I don't know why.
It says, "Leave us alone." And then Obi WAN says, when the time is right, he'll have to be trained. And then Owen drops the bomb and says, "Like you trained his father." Boom. And he looks down. So that was actually probably the best part of the whole trailer.
I mean, I know some people are like, well, Obi-Wan's going to be sad. Obi-Wan. I'm like, well, of course he's going to be sad, but he still has to learn how to be hopeful too. He has to get to that. I understand.
The reason they say that, in my opinion, is because it's supposed to be 10 years, right? Or so it's supposed to be like 9 years. So it's like, okay, listen, it's been 9 years. You're still this obsessed and sad.
That's true.
Like, that's a little. I think the time jump is what makes that a little weirder. But they wanted this to be almost in the middle, right? So it's like we're halfway to New Hope. We're not like too far from either end,
right?
I think because I think I said the same thing. It's like, guys, hasn't it been a minute? Like you're still this caught up? Like really? So.
Yeah.
Let me see I just want to make sure I hit all this. So,
hey, Castle.
It's exciting. It's hard to get excited about anything Disney Star Wars. Yeah, I know. We want to try to be objective. We want it to be good. We want them to try to stay the course. They thinned his hair. That's an interesting observation. Did they?
No, he's saying they thinned his head, meaning they try to make it elong. Because in the original Grand Inquisitor his head is a little thinner and a little more elongated. From back in the the Rebels show.
Yeah, he has a very elongated head in the Rebels. Like it almost doesn't look like we could get a human to play it. It would have to almost be a CGI character.
Right.
I think my issue is more like the eyes and stuff. He doesn't look creepy to me. This guy doesn't look intimidating enough to me to be Grand Inquisitor.
He doesn't look like a Star Wars alien. That because that's what the Grand Inquisitor is, and
it's cosplaying as such.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's my theme of most of these shows this late. So, and this is the Reva character, the third sister Inquisitor. We got more comments. Mr. Tickledrunk says head used to look a lot more bloated. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what the word is. Good word there. Yeah. Grifter and Castle saying hey to each other, and let's play a little more. So yeah, you have her walking TIE fighter stuff. We're on like the docking bay of a ship.
Right.
They're obsessed. You still want Kenobi. That's basically the dialogue, and they're moving around. Cuts of the sand planet, stuff we've kind of seen before, with him riding the creature, and then you have these shots here, some space shots, and then her back on the city. So I think this is what a lot of our stuff's going to be, the setup with this and her. And everyone thinks there's going to be this big bait and switch that she'll become good. So I will be honest. I know it is irritating in 2022. But to have someone go from the dark side to the light and then not make, because okay, she can't make it. If she lives, that's going to be a bigger problem, right? Because she can't keep. But if she were to turn dark to light and they get murdered by Vader, that's not a horrible storyline. That's not a horrible story arc. That could be easily pulled off.
Yeah. But the real statement is just like what you just said. It can it be pulled off though by Disney writers that we
I trust me, I have trepidations among all I don't even care about who they claim they've hired at this point, because they hired Robert Rodriguez, right? And that did not work out well, right? So it's like, and then to have them tweeting all day. If you're not on Twitter and go check, I think you have to do hashtag May the 4th or whatever and find the Star Wars people, and like Jon Favreau's like double masked, and there's pictures with Robert Rodriguez playing his guitar with Baby Yoda, and you're just like, oh, it's pukey, man. I'm sorry, I hate it. Please stop. Realize your fans don't want to see all that. We don't. It doesn't work for us.
Well, it's kind of like it used to be cute, but you're over sugaring everything, and it's just and you can tell, and it's just like, all right, so. I know there are a lot of people who love Baby Yoda, but I will say this: I'm starting to get annoyed by it.
Well, it's too much. They won't let it go. Like Baby Yoda showing up in the Boba Fett thing and it become like this obsessed part of the story. Was way too much. Like the whole Luke thing, and we drug it out, and he's a baby, and he has to decide. And what it's like, oh no, you have dropped the ball tremendously on your cute, cuddly stuffed animals sales thing going on. Well, we've jumped the shark.
Well, because probably with those 2 episodes, not to take away from this, but those 2 episodes were probably part of Mandalorian season 3, as far as speculation is concerned, because those two episodes were, excuse me for saying this like this, but a hell of a lot better than the rest of the Book of Boba Fett show.
There's no shame. That is it. I've said, this is my mantra. I'd like some Boba Fett on my Boba Fett show, please. Can I have some Boba Fett on my Boba Fett show, please? And the best episodes are Mandalorian. They're not.
And I know people kept saying that the Book of Boba Fett is supposed to be like the Godfather type of situation. And I've recently watched The Godfather, and I'm just like, I have no idea where you're getting this similarity from, because it's not. They're nowhere. Book of Boba Fett is nowhere in the same league as that.
He's like, we'll go on a Boba Fett rant for an hour and a half. How much I hate, but all the shows are like this. Can I have some Moon Knight? My Moon Knight show. Yeah. So my fear is I want Obi-Wan on my Obi-Wan show, and I have mixed feelings about all this. So he's a wanted man. Let's make sure we keep up a chat though. Guilt for the monumental failure that would never ever leave someone. I like that Obi-Wan didn't just shrug off that crap. I feel bad about a raccoon I ran over 3 years ago. You just stuck that in, Castle. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Guilt for such a monumental failure. God. Okay. So the guilt shouldn't be an easy thing to shrug off, even though it's been 9 years. Okay. That's reasonably fair. I'm not sure your example of raccoon you ran over 3 years ago.
I guess what he's trying to say is
you just don't forget tragedy. You just don't forget those things. So that's fair.
And the thing is too, maybe guilt, is different for each one of us and how we handle it and where it comes from. I mean, sometimes you get like, you wake, of course, your brain wakes you up in the middle of the night for things you said like 20 years ago or what have you. You're just like, why did I say that? But, I guess they have to. I mean, I know there's already been EU and other stories that I've already spoken about this, but of course, I have to look at it objectively. So I have to look at it from the Disney side of perspective, in that they have to kind of explain a little bit why does Obi-Wan turn Uncle Ben, and he's the crazy uncle that Uncle Owen tells Luke about, and you have to explain. Yes, Disney has to explain that. Now, I understand that that's already been done. I get that, but Disney has already now. They're creating their own canon, so you have to look at it from that perspective. Whether we agree with it or not, it's just they have to explain where that animosity is coming from.
Yeah, I think that set up a little bit in this teaser. I think that was
Yeah.
fair to have them being in some conflict and not see eye to eye. So I want to see more of that.
Right.
And I'm okay with the time jump. I think that,
Mhm.
and I think it's silly that people are objecting to the fact that he would leave Tatooine for whatever mission they come up with. Which I think at this point the Dayu thing, I think there's going to be like a rescue Leia or help Bail Organa. I need you to stay low. I have to leave the planet. I can't ignore this kind of situation.
Right.
It's taken 10 years for the Empire to get this close.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want Vader on Tatooine because that would not make sense, right? Because he'd feel the force presence of the others. Like
Well,
he can sense the presence from space. I mean, it was just, this is not some easy thing to skirt around. Disney's probably not going to probably going to mess that up if that's what they do.
and not only that, but if you look at it this way, obviously, you talk about force bonds and what have you. I would think that Vader would have felt Obi-Wan somehow, and maybe he gets too close, and so therefore he does take this mission in order to get away from Tatooine, to be able to steer the forces away from Tatooine.
That's what I think they're going to go for.
So I mean, that may be another thing. So it's hard. Yes, I understand. We have to question and be skeptical on Disney because, especially if they're following it up
Their resume.
Yeah.
They're going to say Disney has a lot of plans. Yes, they do.
They
and
do.
You're, and you're also right. It's the only successful Disney Star Wars thing. It's their golden goose. Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, there's Baby Yoda trading cards in this little box right over there because my grandkids want Baby Yoda cards, so I bought a box of them, and those are the extra ones. I don't want to tell you, I'm trying to keep them interested in the stuff too. I got to go with what I got. You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do?
And not only that, but how much? So they have tons of Baby Yoda merch. Eventually that merch is going to sit on the shelves because everybody's already bought everything, and so therefore it has no value. So it's not in demand anymore.
Okay, maybe if he could have cut himself off from the force a little bit. Yeah, that's a good.
That's
actually
true.
A great point, Castle. I don't think I've heard anybody really talking about that because that would help explain some of it. Like it's his way of staying undetected, but it would make him vulnerable to the Inquisitors showing up, attacking civilians or something like that, which is in the other trailer.
And not only that, but I think I remember, I don't know, it's been mentioned before, or maybe I've heard it in a stream or something like that. But I think if you cut yourself off from the force, it's very damaging. Mm-hmm. And I can't confirm that because I remember hearing that. I don't know whether I read it somewhere, but I think it's very damaging. So I don't know if Obi-Wan would want to do that. Maybe he finds a way to mask himself rather than cut himself off.
Right. Something. That's what Yoda had done, right? When you get close to Dagobah, it was like a force field basically around the planet or something. It caused the ship to act all weird. You basically couldn't sense anything. It was almost like you could sense anything, right?
Well, that's because the planet itself had a huge presence. Yeah. It had a huge presence of the force. So sure. Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
So it's like the wanted thing is Obi-Wan. This is Forlom. I don't know if you know The Empire Strikes Back, bounty hunters, when Boba Fett's being hired by Vader. Forlom and Zuckuss is the two. They're like friends. So this is one of those two bounty hunters.
Okay.
Right here. They're friends. So they're going to probably show up in this, which makes total sense. And there was this little story. I don't know if you mentioned not knowing some of the EU. So there was like an EU story called Shadows of the Empire.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Vader's son that was involved with hunting down Luke, and they were in a conflict. Prince Shijar is actually like the Palpatine's kid. Or I don't know. I literally, folks, I read this stuff like 20 something years ago. So these other bounty hunters are involved with some of that stuff. So this is kind of cool stuff to jangle some keys about. I'm all right with that. It's not the worst thing in the world. I love the IG-11 character, right? That was not the one they brought up in first season of Mandalorian. It was like a fun character to see, a knockoff of IG-88, basically. So, so and he's using a blaster and not a lightsaber. There were some questions about all that. I think in the city you're going to use a lightsaber. It's like, hey, listen, look at me, I'm a Jedi. So I think that's probably the direction they're going to go with. You know what I mean?
And see, if anybody criticizes that, I'm like, he's supposed to be in hiding, and if he's supposed to be going on this mission, he's supposed to be undercover in such a way so that he's not. getting attention from himself. So he doesn't want to whip out a excuse me for saying it in that way, but whip out a lightsaber because everyone knows.
We've seen Spaceballs. We know exactly where you're going.
But we don't. I mean, he doesn't want to. He stands out if he takes out a lightsaber. Everybody's going to know, and it's just like, everybody knows that the Jedi were quote unquote traitors to the galaxy, to the Empire. So I mean, not that that's true or anything, but that's the way that people are learning. And I know I saw Mr. Tickle Trunk's comment. I see you,
man, bro. Oh my gosh, that's the best. It's like a bad T-shirt. It's like Dagobah, and it has this in like small print underneath. You know what I mean?
And you have it with a smog, cloudy smog.
It's just the cloudy stuff around it. It's like, wow. Oh yeah, he's supposed to be lurking. You're not lurking, bro. You're jumped right in. Mags is here making us all laugh. That's why you're Oh, Castle says I'll never look at Dagobah the same way. I'm not sure I will either. By the way, put your H on there. There's an H.
I mean, it is kind of misty in the forest of the there. So
you know what? As a kid, because it was the kind of thing. So we were very, very poor, and like trailer park poor. But it's like, so birthdays and Christmas was Star Wars time. That's all you got, because that's all I asked for. That's all I wanted. I remember meeting one of my estranged family members. They gave me a birthday card for every year to kind of represent every year I was, because I didn't meet them until I was 10. I took all the money to buy a Millennium Falcon. All my money for it.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do when you have that money.
You gotta do. Dagobah playset. You had a little thing, and it had like sponges, and that's where the R2 would sink down into. And you had a little button push, and it would lift 3 boxes. Like you had to stick them on the little spring thing, and it was lift them up for Yoda to lift them. This was your playsets when you're at this point. I would have been 10, maybe 11. Yeah, it was fun times. Dagobah, Misty fart, evidently. I'm a little. Show so.
You need to have like a little mountainside on the T-shirt on Dagobah that's like spitting out the smog. Anyway, all right. So
she's saying, "I want every." Let me show you. Rewind it because I know I can't. You can't hear it. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter. I like that she says lowlife and bounty hunter. By the way, it's like it reminded me of New Hope with the scum and villainry in the universe.
Oh yeah. Okay, so he's
actually physically fighting. Bad costuming though, by the way. Dude looks like he's in like a knockoff Cosby sweater. It's like, I don't know what's happening here.
That looks like Coachella.
So that's fighting some different
and then
ships.
we go to another planet. Is this supposed
to be Camino?
I don't know whether it's supposed to be Camino or because what is it? Water? Is it water based?
It looked like that was water.
That looks like water. Yeah, maybe. Is that where their operations are?
I don't know. She's got her lightsaber out. A couple of. So we're getting like shock trooper hybrids to tie in Rogue One, maybe.
Maybe.
I thought the stormtroopers looked better.
Yeah.
I like
this
that
scene
part.
This scene for whatever reason. This is probably going to put a damper on the mood, but this scene for whatever reason reminds me of The Last Jedi, and I don't know why. Maybe the coloring.
Well, you just have this sense of like the fake order nonsense. Like it just doesn't feel like the Empire. Like it's like okay, so we went through like 3 movies with all this lore and this Empire and a Death Star. We don't have any of these characters, right? So it's a little hard. It was Vader and a whole bunch of stormtroopers. And then when the Emperor shows up, he has Red Royal Guards. And there's a few TIE fighter pilots and things like that. But it was basically variations of stormtroopers. But now suddenly we have different stormtroopers and stuff that we don't have. They went extinct basically in our head. And that's what's a little weird for me when we do these things. Like
it's a little jarring sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh man, you guys are going crazy in the chat over here.
I'm sorry. We're just having a conversation. So are they.
No. Yeah, that's fine with me. I just want to make sure we don't ignore them. Let's go. Thanks to EFAP, I could enjoy book. EFAP destroys everything.
They literally tear everything down. I mean,
and I have to be honest. I feel like a silly YouTuber even trying to keep up with doing my own version of that with Halo. So I'm happy they didn't do Halo. I've kind of done Moon Knight rants, but I don't really do like EFAP. I've done EFAP, basically the equivalent of EFAP for Halo.
And you know what I like about them too is that Mahler helped me introduce to a lot of all the YouTubers that I have met, like Geeks and Gamers, Nerdotic, as all of them.
Sure.
So and then that opened the doors to a whole lot of other people like you and Loki and everybody else. But I love about EFAP is that they don't hate watch. They actually give logical reasoning and to why this is not a good concept. This is not a good.
Yeah, they're usually working it out, like with you.
Yeah.
Like, and I have to be honest, there's sometimes when I love watching the episode myself, especially when I had hang-ups, and I watch it with them, and they're going even deeper than I was, because they'll rewind it. You know what I mean? Like, wait, let's go back to this scene over here. And you're like, oh yeah, that definitely that even makes it worse than it was before. You know what I mean? It's like how I felt. So.
And then they laugh, and then they try to go and fix it.
There are good elements of Halo. I think Ironcaster deserves the most credit because he has objectively tried to interject. Like, you know what? If we just forget this is Halo for a minute, this scene is good or this scene is bad, and this, so if there's any sort of balance in our system between the three of us, it's probably Ironcaster for us. But yeah, they all do that pretty well. Mr. Tickle Trunks keeps going. Imagine they weren't going to ruin this concept. Imagine Disney knew what they were doing and had the love for the material. Imagineering.
You can only imagine.
They love their Star Wars. It's going to be Tatooine. The entire show is going to be on Tatooine. There has to make the show there. Yeah, because it has to be a flippin' sand planet. Cue Ryan. He knows how I feel about the freaking sand planets.
You know what?
Opening scene of Halo. I kid you not. It's like a helicopter stopped zooming in on the sand planet. I didn't even make it 3 seconds, and I paused it. So you got to flippin'. I just finished Book of Boba Fett that couldn't leave Tatooine, and Halo wants to start off by putting me on a freaking sand planet. I couldn't make 3 seconds in, and I was already complaining.
Well, it's funny. I'm a beach girl, but I feel like I'm going to turn into Anakin at some point and say I hate sand because it's
enough already.
Enough with this.
We know they're cheap, and you already have the sets and everything, but come on, people. Says you can have a stream or you can just have a great sweet Mags on it. But when you have her, everything is pardoned. She's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I'm blushing, Zansel Tan.
All right. EFAP did make Boba Fett entertaining, especially Rags screaming so forcefully that he was squealing about nobody uses a gun in the show. Brother, I tweeted this and I got ratioed and attacked like you would not believe. I'm like, I tweeted, can I first have Boba Fett on my Boba Fett show? And when he shows up, can he use the freaking blaster that he's carrying around? There would be these huge sequences where he's carrying it and never using it. It would drive me. First off, all of Hollywood does this because they hate guns. So you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier and you watch these shows. There's guns. Use your flipping guns. Makes me header.
And the thing is, it goes to show you how lazy they've gotten in terms of detail. Because I can watch old classic films like Casablanca and watch films today, and I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah. it's so insane.
Yes,
literally like the 50s, like you're saying. Like I'm watching. I'm trying to get through J. Edgar because tomorrow night I'm doing, and I don't think we're going to get to J. Edgar tomorrow. We're trying to do like a retro where politics meets cinema because it's the anniversary of Churchill becoming the prime minister. So we're going to do Darkest Hours and Dunkirk, two war movies.
Dunkirk, that's a good
one. We're doing those tomorrow. I'm doing them with Troy Pacelli.
Nice.
And we're trying to do J. Edgar because it's the anniversary. Like the week after is when Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover took office for the FBI, and the movie is unbearable because it's just like so authoritarian or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's comments about like what they would go through so they could officially get guns. They didn't used to carry guns. Can you imagine feds not carrying guns? The police would just ignore them. There's a scene where the police are like, "You need to just go away. We're not listening to you." And you're like,
honestly,
guns. Like, honestly, this is crazy.
Honestly, I wish they could do that now.
No. I'm with you. But my point is just because we've gone so extreme since then, your head just kind of goes. And of course, Hollywood, you can't have guns. Well, Hoover was working with Hollywood or whatever to start making movies. So that's where like the first movie, like, Public Enemy and stuff like that was getting made on purpose to normalize gangsters and stuff. And Hollywood and him were feuding back and forth with public PR stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
Native Floridian, I never go to the beach. Can confirm a general hatred of sandcastle in Florida. You got to hit me up, man. We got to get together sometime, man. I'm over. I work in the city and live in the woods, and do not go to the beach because if you could see this, it's pale. Get in the sun. I'll peel, and then I go back to pale. This is about as dark as it gets.
I'm a quarter Irish, so I have that skin. So then I have to almost, not that I do this on purpose, but it's almost like I have to burn first before I can tan the rest of the season. I mean, that's
my daughter does that. My youngest daughter's that way. She'll burn the first time, and then after that, she gets so dark that you're like, she's not related to us.
And yes, Rags is hilarious. When his laugh and he starts realizing that something is absolutely absurd,
Yes.
he
Yeah,
just
I couldn't agree more. And I tell you what it was for me in Book of Boba Fett is when the Tusken Raiders got murdered, and I was with Rags. I was cheering when I watched it for the first time. So when EFAP had the similar response, like they killed all the murderers and the rapists, thank you. I was like, yes, Rags, thank you. I felt the same way. Use the gun. I was screaming at Mr. Chisel. I was screaming that he would do something. What you bring me? Best moments, videos. Okay, let's get through this video.
I'm sorry.
No, it's me too. It's me too. Yeah, it does. Again, if it wasn't Disney, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, we wouldn't have so many trepidations. And they had these aren't the people that brought us Last Jedi. We wouldn't make these associations.
Yep.
More hand to hand combat. You can't run Obi WAN.
Okay,
She spins her lightsaber around. We have this shot of this guy. He's been in. I don't know who this is.
Okay. All right.
And this is this little droid. Someone said, I don't know if this is true or not. So you guys have to tell me. Is this supposed to, I thought maybe that was supposed to be Bail Organa then, because somebody says that's supposed to be Leia's droid. That's like her personal little robot.
But we've never seen that before.
I don't know. I'm just There's a better shot of the droid thing he was fighting with. I assume it maybe is another lowlife / bounty hunter. Don't know for sure. Or protection droid maybe.
That doesn't look like Bail Organa, though.
I know. I don't think so either. I don't know who these people are. And she starts screaming that you can't escape him.
All right.
There's our shot. There's our shot.
Okay, so that was a Darth Vader scene, probably.
Yeah, that's a Vader shot. It's funny. They go back 10 seconds and it feels like I go back 30.
I'm sorry.
No, it's me. I'm trying to do the same thing because I'm trying to show you the shot. There it is. Look at that.
That's definitely Darth Vader.
Shot though. That's a great shot.
It is.
And I will be honest, it will be emotional seeing him become Vader again. And it doesn't matter what they do. Like Rogue One was so emotional when it was Vader scenes. It was just, I don't know. I'm too weak, I guess. But yeah, she's saying that, and then you have the shot again of the weird fifth brother guy.
So you have the fifth brother, and then the chick to the left of him is another Inquisitor look. So she's somebody else.
Right. I don't know which one she is. So one of the EU people will know for sure because they know which sister it is.
It's probably from Rebels, maybe.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them. There's lore, massive lore with the brothers and sisters, and like I said, Wikipedia even had some of that stuff. So it wasn't like it was hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the other shot of him being put together, so to speak.
So building it up to Darth Vader.
Yeah, yep. See like the staples and the flesh right here. Mm-hmm. This is going to be the chest piece. Watch.
Yep.
Oh, so good. And then you hear breathing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the shot. He opens it. And in the background, you just hear. That's what you hear in the background. Cut. That's it.
The one thing I would like for them to.
Oh, this was pretty cool, actually. We'll close it out because this was actually kind of cool.
That is cool. I like that.
Yeah. So look, there's some positives. There's some hope. Well, okay, I'm not sure there's hope. There was some stuff.
Well, see, I guess for me, it's like, okay, so, I mean, you have to if I know they're going to be, hardcore Star Wars fans pre-Disney who don't care. They're not gonna like this, and that's their prerogative. I don't blame them. And then there's the Disney hardcore fans who are just going to love everything that they put out. And then there's those of us who are trying to reconcile between the two. And
Solzatan, put in chat what are you referring to? The robot? Are you referring to the Inquisitor because she has on this weird chest thing too? Or are you referring to something else? I'm sorry, I would try to show what you were referring to. Or
I think this. Yeah. It does look like laser tag.
It's kind of funny, actually. Yeah, now that you say that. I just don't understand this helmet thing. Like, I know that's what they did. I'm just like, I don't understand how Filoni made that and that went through. Like, that's a good idea, but I don't know, whatever.
I don't know whether it has something to do with his alien species, but maybe it's a certain type of I don't know.
And again, I'm similar with you with what you said about Grand Inquisitor. They don't look alien enough for me. I don't have enough suspension of disbelief. He just looks like a person cosplaying of what the real one looks like. I don't get it. I do like the fact that they're throwing in the heavy guy over here on the right. Makes me feel like I could be part of the team right there because
So the Empire,
he's pushing at
is
least 250 to $3 so he's making me look like a skinny Empire worker.
so the Empire is pro dad bods at this point.
Look at he's bigger than Dad Bod. I'm more Dad Bod, and this dude's he's got too many sandwiches. He needs to go run some stairs in the Death Star. But they've gotten very diverse, right? So all of the Empire have POCs, a lot of ladies, and we got chubby worker over here. He's probably a staff. He's probably a member. I'm probably picking on someone that works at Lucasfilm. I have no idea, but
the thing is, I don't understand about the Empire is that aren't they supposed to be like xenophobic and very supposed to be, I don't know, they're supposed to be exactly what the modern SJW reads against. So I mean, like sexist, other phobes. It's like, what the heck are they trying to do here?
Yeah, they're way diverse in this show. They got all sorts of people coming after Obi-Wan. They're bringing everybody. They've got male Inquisitors, female Inquisitors, black Inquisitors, fat guy guidance ships. I guess I don't know. It's just, I didn't even notice that the first couple of times I watched this. I kind of watched it one time that I actually paid attention and watched it, and then I'm like, wait, what's this guy doing here? How do you pass the physicals to be part of the Empire?
That would be my question. I mean, I don't, I'm not, shaming anybody, but at the same time, I'm like, you would think that the Empire would want to be on their P's and Q's on stuff. I mean,
it's a standard that's been in all of the movies. So even if you include the new movies, it's like, well, there's a standard of being a military operation. It's not like it's a guy in a village. It's just it's a guy. He's like, I don't know if he's an officer. I don't know their insignias, but he's at least working there. I mean, all right, fine, whatever. They're inclusive, I guess. That's fair enough. So,
so I guess we should all be happy that the Empire exists then.
Yes, Mr. Sickleton, you're absolutely right. They are clearly supposed to be a metaphor for those Germans. And the last part of the original Star Wars aesthetic was World War I in space. Absolutely, it's not even a gray area. It's like it's what made it so cool.
Yeah, it wasn't
low spec Linux laptop.
Hey,
I feel like I've been botted. That's such a great name. Like the only thing I can think of that's better is we were traveling in a hotel, and you know how you do Wi-Fi search, and someone's Wi-Fi was white van parentheses not NSA. And that was their Wi-Fi name. I was like, whoa, I want to join that. That's great.
That's when you connect with a VPN.
Yeah, the guy on the right would not find the actual military service. I got to be honest, man. The standards may be changed. For all I know, he's working today. I don't even know this. It's upside down.
It's funny. You don't know what the standard. Well, actually, no. This is the height of the Empire, so they should be. They should have pretty high standards.
Yeah.
At this point. So it does look like Obi-Wan's going to be fighting. Physically, he's going to be fighting with a phaser. Wrong series. Fighting with
blasters. Yeah.
A blaster. So.
I was trying to figure out if the dots meant anything because he has 5 and he's called the 5th brother, but then there's a little dot on the side, and then this is the other one that was in that shot. But then there's another female worker over here.
I wonder if the other sister there. I wonder if she's what do they call it? Merlinian. That's in Rebels. Because there was one that was just like bear, the alien species like bears offie. I think I'm saying it right, but I could be wrong. Chat can definitely correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
They'll tell us.
That's what it looks like from those angles. I'm just not sure.
Awesome One.
Hey, Awesome One.
I thought that was V for Vendetta. Right. It's been 30 plus years since I was in the military. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, I'm also basing this on Star Wars lore. Like they don't have ladies, POCs, and fat dudes in New Hope, even Rogue One. So I don't know where all these people go, but they don't make the mustard in 10 years. We're 10 years away from those. So the World War I aesthetic is what grounded Star Wars in reality. Amen. I breathe it. Absolutely. Now it's a generic science fiction outside of the Mandalorian. They got the aesthetic almost perfectly in season 1. And I also love a lot of people complained about Mandalorian being too slow or whatever. I actually liked it. I thought it was more like when George would talk about the old serials, and I was really familiar with like some of those old serials. Mandalorian felt like that. It felt like an overarching story that's going somewhere, but it was very slow. It was kind of fun. New creatures and critters would come and go, whatever. The carrying around the Baby Yoda thing did get a little tedious, but I didn't hate it as much. Season 2 I just get less interested, right? It just got less interesting. And then we have the jangle of the key. Then it was exciting to see the finale of season 2.
I actually was one of those people that thought that season 1 was a little slow, but I enjoyed it for what it was in terms of it was completely different. It's not the sequel trilogy. It had new characters in it. It had other places to go, other situations, and it's like here's a cast of characters in a large galaxy dealing with the fallout of, and I wouldn't say fallout in a bad way, but fallout of the Empire collapsing at that point, and the new Republic stepping up. So I thought that was just a very interesting concept to explore.
Yeah.